turn things over to Ms. Connie.
Okay,
Somebody talking to the mic.
talking to the mic, yes.
Yes, that, yeah. You can get there.
Is it on?
Whatever you want to do.
Okay. I have put this on your desks, your packet of the preliminary budget. And this is a workshop, so you get to bring your pencils and you get to bring your ideas to go with this. I wanted to start out with what we have for revenues. We have not received our official property tax things from Russ County yet. She had COVID, was out, so she's working on them, gonna get them to us within the week is what she's hoping.
Bring it down to you, Connie.
I'm gonna have to start yelling like I'm talking at home. I'm sorry.
Talking to the mic.
Okay, so discussing that on the very first page, the general fund revenues, you'll notice the top in the 2023 budget is still blank. I'm waiting on the official numbers from Russ County so I can figure that out. We had decided to go with the no new revenue tax. We also passed the property tax homestead revision last time. We're getting the paperwork together to send for that. I don't know what that's going to do to the property taxes that we'll be able to collect. So until we get something official like that, it's really hard to put some numbers in there. I'm working off the numbers from 2022, which had property taxes listed at $425,286. The delinquent property taxes at $13,000, tax penalties and interest at $12,500, tax collection fees at $4,600. Their total property taxes was $455,386 for 2022 budget. That's what we thought we were going to be working off of anyway, so we're kind of looking at that. On the revenues, we have the licenses and the permits. On some of these, I looked at the history to see what we'd been paying. If I know there's a difference, then I marked it up to match the difference. So for the building permits and fees, you've got $1,000. Community development case fees, we got $1,500 last year. I moved it down to $1,000 this year. We haven't seen that much activity over the past year. For the community development legal notice fees, they had $250, so I moved the $250 over into this column. So at the moment, budgeted last year was $2,750. Budgeted this year is $2,250. We have our franchise fees for gas, for electric, for garbage. Those have remained pretty steady. I basically just rounded them up. If they had $12,541, I made it $12,600. Left it at that. For the community building, we usually rent that out 2 days a week at least, $100 a day for the rental. So that's what I figured in for the $2,400. If we get more days than that, then that's a bonus and we'll be over that. The RV park, we've been running 4 to 5 trailers at a time, paying it a month at a time. So with that kind of fees, we get around $12,000 per year estimate. Sometimes we have people come in for a night or two. Sometimes we have not as many, but we've been rocking pretty steadily at 4 to 5 trailers. Cemetery fees, they marked them at $3,000 for last year. I just moved it over to $3,000 for this year. Cemetery plot sales, they had $5,600 budgeted for 2022. We did not see that many sales, so I moved it down to $3,800. Apparently with COVID, we don't need as many plot sales, which is good. The OEDC and the OMDD administrative fees have remained the same at $1,000 a month, so it's $12,000 each per the year. The EMS building rental is running $13,929. It stays the same year to year to year, and it's enough to cover the note that we pay for the EMS building with maybe $50 to $75 profits. Our state sales tax has been running high this year. They had budgeted at $250,000. We've got it marked at $280,000 because we've already collected $270-something thousand, and we've still got a couple of months to go. The fines and the forfeitures, the warrant fees, the Omni fee, the time payment fees. I didn't really see any time payment fees, but the rest of it seems to be remaining steady. So I simply moved those numbers over. Grants and contributions. We didn't have anything for insurance reimbursements. We had a police car that got totaled out and they reimbursed them. Of course, that went to the police side and it was promptly spent on some things that they need over there. CARES Act grant, we still have the money in the bank. We have around $70,000 to $80,000 in past invoices that we are cleared to use to reimburse ourselves for that. We have not done that transaction, so it still remains, and those invoices have been paid. So we're kind of holding that in a little reserve. Plus, we should get another installment of that this August. We're waiting to hear on that. But at the moment, I left it at the $310,000 in the budget. So your total of grants and contributions, $310,000 for this year. They had $367,257 for 22. Sale of assets, they had $2,000. We haven't planned to sell anything that I'm aware of. I left it at zero for this moment. Donations, interest income remains steady. Notary copy fees, they had nothing, but we get a little bit of that through the front door, and I guesstimated around $50. Not anything huge. On our loans, we have the EMS building loan. On the next page down, you should go through your columns. We pay $1,050.10 each month. That will be paid off in 2029. The refi loan of 2003, the bond loan that they refinanced through Texas Bank and Trust to get some cash flows going in, I think, 2017, 2018, runs us around $40,000 twice a year. We have payments in February and in August. We'll have one of those come out around the 8th. That'll be paid off next year with one more payment. So we can add another $39,000 to the budget, so to speak, because we won't have that payment coming out but once next year. On the Kubota tractor that we've been making payments on, that should be paid off by April of next year. So there's a total of the loans, which is going down. I like to see that. The next page is my own basic explanation that you've probably seen before, which is basically the loans. It's just written differently because I understand it better when I put it like that, of how much, what's been paid off. We paid off the 2002 bond loan in February. I mentioned that at some previous meetings. So that's $164,240 that we will not be spending on a loan payment next year. That can go back into the budget. I think it's kind of self-explanatory there. If it's not, you're welcome to ask questions. Take it home, mull it over. I did 2 pages of capital budget, but I don't really have enough information yet to be able to budget this totally. We do know that we have some issues out at the sewer plant still. We know that we have not completely gotten the clarifier up and running. We've had some pumps going out on the lift stations in the last week that they're having to get repaired. We need to budget for things like that next year. I need to get some prices on those so we can kind of get an idea. On the water storage tank, we know that we are going to have to do some work on well number 5, I believe it is. It's got to be recoated, have some rust spots fixed, things like that. The only bid we've gotten so far was 80-something thousand. I put 90,000 on the budget for it, and we'll be getting more quotes on it before we actually start that work. And I'm sure that'll be in 2023, so that'll be in the budget. They had listed a couple of well tank electricity, the tower chlorinators. That was from previous year, and I'm not sure that that work has been done. So I'm waiting to find that out. I was under the impression it might not have been. On the next page for your capital expenditures, we have the administration. We don't know when or if they're going to move the police station downtown to the building that they were given there, the old Chamber of Commerce. And if they do, what kind of renovations will have to be done down there? Or what we might want to do up here to move ourselves around and increase the storage here and consolidate so that we don't have to heat and cool a huge building for just a few of us. We've talked about that too. The police department was approved for their vehicle purchase. That will come in 2023. They've asked me to put $25,000 in the budget for that, and then it will have to be outfitted. But they intend to pay for a part of it with their seizure fund, which is up to $16,000 right now. They may have more money later. And then partial funding they're asking for from the general fund. The Public Works Department, as you know, our trucks are starting to go down. So we put 20,000 in the budget because even if we have to replace a motor in something, it's gonna cost us pretty much that much. Whether we spend it on a good used vehicle or we spend it repairing what we've got, we need some money in the budget to make sure that the trucks stay running. Right now, we have multiple people using their own trucks to get around to do the work, and those roads are pretty bad, so they can tear a truck up.
Shop trying to get them fixed.
That too. And then after that, I moved into the payroll projections. I'm not gonna go through those until we see where we're at with the rest of the budget. That because of inflation, we had suggested, the 5 or the 10% growth rate there. And comparing that to what we had seen for the 2021 budget from the previous administration, we actually aren't that much higher because we've reduced how many people we have here and we're doing a lot more with fewer people, but we pay them just a little bit more to keep them. When they moved that minimum wage to $15 an hour, it made it really difficult to get guys that want to stand out here in this 100-degree heat and work when they can do that at Lowe's, making $15 an hour in the air conditioning. So we've had a little trouble getting that. The budget worksheet on the back, next page, with handwriting in the slots, is what Chief Poole gave me. He was actually very helpful with the budget on his side. I'd given him a sheet and he actually filled it out and returned it to me. That was nice. I liked that. I used those figures when I was doing the budget in the front here. And it breaks it out by the lines. You can go through that and look at it. Self-explanatory. Once you wander through that, you get down to the fire department. They turned in a budget. We don't have a lot to finance for the fire department any longer because they've gotten their funds from elsewhere. We do pay them call-out fees to the fire department when the guys respond. We do pay their chief a small amount plus his cell phone. I think they listed like 5 things that might be paid for by the city. Most of that's the utilities and the insurance. Uniforms, firefighter reimbursement for the calls, workers' compensation insurance, their telephone and internet at the station, and the utilities for the station is basically all that they asked for in the budget. The rest of theirs they are getting from ESD money and grants from the Texas Forestry Service. On the last page, I ran my budget worksheet out of Encode. Going to the Henderson website, I noticed that that is what they had posted on their website for their proposed budget that they're considering at this point in time. Breaks it all out by the line items. I have done work on this. It is not complete, but that's what I hope to have ready to put on our website when we get this all completed out. And then we'll post it out there so everybody can go see everything they need to know and then some. Other than that, I am open to suggestions. The things that need to be put on the budget, things that need to be adjusted on the budget. And I will leave that up to you, councilman and the mayor, and to get back to me and let me know what we can do to get that adjusted. I'd like to have something a lot more permanent to submit to you on the 18th. And that concludes the budget workshop.
That was good. No, I haven't had very much time to look at it thus far. We'll probably go into more detail, have an early meeting again, on the 18th, when we have another 30-minute budget workshop beforehand. And if it's completed enough, we may even have a public hearing on it, during that time period. So that's what we'd like to do.
Did I mention the appraisal rolls? Did I give them that?
I think
Okay.
you did at the end, if you want to comment on that. Yep.
Okay, we have not received the official what our taxes are gonna be. They're working that up for us, but we did get the Rusk County Appraisal District certification of the appraisal rolls. And for 2022, the approved appraisal rolls for net real estate value is $84,138,004. Net mineral, utility, and industrial value is $17,514,550. And the total 2022 approved appraisal roll is $101 $5,652,554. So for those of you who know about taxes and like to do math, you're welcome to play with those numbers. For the cemetery, it came to the net real estate value of $85,282,000. Am I reading that right? Is that a comma or is that a? Okay, $85,282,074. Net mineral, utility, and industrial value of $17,514,550, which left a total 2022 approved appraisal roll for the cemetery, Russ County portion only, of $102,796,624,000.
Whether we still need to fill in.
The capital expenses for next year, the tax rolls, when we get those, yeah, that's a lot of it. I know we're not gonna raise them, but we might have to adjust the budget to stay under them if need be.